A few weeks ago, a couple of Dandy's World fan games started gaining a lot of popularity. However, these aren't blatant copies of the original game or anything like that. Instead, they feel more like creepypastas turned into games, where we can encounter strange events and unsettling imagery. Today we take a closer look at these games and all their mysteries. Glisten Awakening, Vee's Epiphany, and Boxten Dream. They all seem to be heavily connected to each other, along with a couple of secret games that might help explain more of this disturbing lore. So, let's begin. These games were created by the users Whispers Turn to Voices. Glisten Awakening. When starting this game, we play as Razzle and Dazzle. We find ourselves in an unknown room. It feels like we're completely alone, but that only lasts a few seconds. After walking around a bit, we come across a disturbing, completely black hand. When we get close to it, it disappears. Right next to it, we see what appears to be Glisten, but not in its twisted form. Something different. The first thing that stands out is his eyes. A bright, intense red that glows even from a distance. They stand out above everything else, since Glisten is hidden in the shadows and we can barely make out his body. His gaze is always fixed on us. No matter where we go, his eyes will follow. But that's not all. If we stop looking at him, Glisten will begin to walk toward us. This allows us to see him more clearly. His body is covered in red stains. His mirror face is completely black except for his eyes. His arms are much longer and his fingers are unsettling. If Glisten gets too close and touches us, we're kicked out of the game. And this message appears along with the disturbing sound. Feed the faint. While exploring the room, we can find additional details. Once again, we see the same hand that guided us before, now in a different part of the room. When we approach it, it disappears just like before. But if we go to the place it came from, we see a kind of black smoke and a disturbing image. It appears to be a deformed version of Scraps with an unsettling expression, an elongated torso and limbs, and a body mostly covered in black stains. It's unclear whether these stains are made of ichor or something else entirely. If we try to get closer, we're suddenly kicked out of the game with the message, "You will make a great host." Continuing our search, we find a strange skull, which will become important later. Vee's Epiphany. In this game, we play as Boxten, who seems frightened. Right where we start, we can see the phrase, "Don't blink," written multiple times on the walls. If we look closely around the room, we'll find some interesting details. On a couple of toy blocks, the word "help" appears. And not only that, near the music box, if we move the camera, we can find a different note that says, "I didn't leave my games like this. Didn't do any of this. Why is it speaking to me? What did I do?" Unlike the previous game, what guides us isn't a strange hand, but arrows drawn on the floor. However, in the distance we see a strange figure. If we look closely, it's a deformed version of Vee. She has long arms, one of them made of bones. Her torso is exposed, and from her head, a disturbing face emerges. Just like Scraps in the previous game, she's almost completely covered in that same black substance. If this version of Vee catches us, we're kicked out of the game, and a message appears in Portuguese. It reads, "He's going to love this." If we go to the place where Vee appears and look into that corner, we can see the same Scraps figure from the first game. We can also find the skull from before. In that same area, near a fallen cardboard cutout of Vee, there's another note in Portuguese that reads, "Freaking a strange entity that can be inserted into the workspace through the toolbox, and it's something the user often forgets." Finally, if we follow the arrow from the first room, we'll encounter a version of Dandy. The only recognizable part of him is his petals. His face is completely distorted. We can see a disturbing mouth and one fully red eye, while the rest of his body, or whatever remains of it, is covered in black. If we continue forward, we'll find a door. On the door, there's a poster showing Glisten from the first game, along with a distorted note in Portuguese that reads, "Fainting, hallucinations, and..." When we enter the door, we're sent to the next game.
It's free and it's easy. Join right now. Now! In every video, one will be chosen. A random character, never the same one. If you want, you can participate. Just post it in the community tab.
So subscribe now, folks, and don't miss a moment of our amazing content.
Boxten Dream. When entering this game, we see a style similar to Five Nights at Freddy's minigames. At first, everything seems calm. We can even hear birds singing. But shortly after, Boxten starts running, and we begin to hear a disturbing sound coming from behind. Even though Boxten speeds up, our path is blocked by a large rock. We find a space where we might be able to hide, but no matter what we do, an entity, the one responsible for those sounds, eventually catches us. When it touches us, we're kicked out of the game with this message: "You can't leave yet. You need your makeover." We also get a glimpse of the entity's face, which closely resembles the skull we saw before. Is this the same entity that guided us in Glisten's game? The same one responsible for the transformations of Vee, Glisten, Scraps, and Dandy? Finally, the same user created a couple of older games, which we can access through their profile. The first one is Red Freddy Game. In this, we play as a Roblox character on a completely flat surface. A countdown begins, and when it ends, Red Freddy appears and starts chasing us while a horrible sound plays. If he catches us, this message appears: "Subscribe." Take advantage and subscribe to this channel too. Dandy Game. Here we spawn in front of several custom models from Dandy's world. We can find multiple Boxtens, one of them with his wind-up key broken. There's also a model of Foxy's head. We see Dandy stretching sideways, next to a plush version of himself. We can also see Goob chasing a deformed Glisten. If we touch Glisten, nothing happens, but if we touch Goob, we die. There's also a transparent wall covered in scratches and black stains. In the distance, we see a glowing silhouette. When we look at it, a message appears: "Don't go, please." As we get closer, the sky begins to darken. When we stand in front of it, the following dialogue appears: "Look at how far I've come. Are you proud of me?" After that, we're kicked out with the message: "I am." If we go to the other side, we find a cookie that says, "Eat me." When we approach it, we see the message: "I don't remember placing this here." If we click on it, we're teleported to a forest, where we encounter Scraps again, with a disturbing face, very similar to the version from the previous games. If Scraps touches us, we're kicked out with the message: "It's okay." What does all of this mean? We've seen Scraps, Glisten, Dandy, multiple versions of Vee, and a Boxten with his wind-up key broken. This can't be a coincidence. Finally, if we return to this forest and enter a small tent, we're transported to a completely black space with a glowing sphere. When we press it, a strange dog-faced character appears and begins chasing us constantly. We also see a TV with an old console and a couple of cartridges underneath it. However, we can interact with anything, and we can't leave. This is the last thing we can find. Will we eventually see a new game from this creator, featuring a distorted version of Boxten and revealing more about this strange lore? The only thing I know for sure is